it's one of these things. I suppose it's like train spotting if you're into train spotting. Once you get the bug for lighthouses, it's quite, it really captivates you. And some of these guys love going around different lighthouses because they're beautiful buildings. For anybody who's got an interest in engineering, to see the magnificence of some of these buildings, how they were constructed, the work that went into them. I mean, some of them are 200-year-old, and it was nice to see people having a pride in what they were doing. But the health and safety element of it was tricky, because you're expecting people to live on an island with basically no resources. It's not like an oil rig where you've got meals on tap, you're working in shifts. Some of these guys were pretty much living in timber huts, because you couldn't get the materials out to site. You couldn't put a site camp up because you were having to fly out with a helicopter, and the maximum load in a helicopter was 400 kilograms. So you can imagine the restriction that had on your site work straight away. Even trying to get a chemical toilet out in these places in a helicopter is quite difficult, because there's no weight in it, but it's quite bulky, so you have to add extra weights on to make it flyable. So it was really enjoyable. It was very difficult, and none of the sites were the same. Everyone had a different problem. It had different logistics, it had different times of the year, so you had different weather restrictions, and because all the lighthouses are different, there were different elements to do as well. So really enjoyable and worthwhile project. It was great fun.
I had aspirations when I was young. I don't know if you remember the series. I don't know if you're old enough to remember this. There was a series on BBC called Lovejoy, and it was about antique dealers, and I had this idea that I was going to be an antique dealer like Lovejoy, and I was going to go around and find these old antiques and sell them. And I got into it, and I did my A-levels, I got into history, and I was really interested in it, and I got offered a job, and this guy phoned me up, we met up, and it was for this art dealership, and he said, I want you to start as soon as possible. And I was like, I've got my A-levels. He went, well, don't worry about your A-levels. You work for me. You'll be travelling the world selling these Japanese antique bronzes. And I said, I put a lot of work in. I can't just get it up. And I was only about, I think it was Wimbledon time, so it's just about a month or so before the exams. He said, if I don't find anyone, by the time you finish the exams, the job's yours. So I finished my exams, I phoned him up straight away, invited me up to the gallery, and I met the person who had my job, and they were very experienced, and they spoke 6 different languages. So I missed out on that opportunity. So I was kind of like, what am I going to do? I wanted to go to antiques, but I always had this work element. I'm from a working class family, Blair. I didn't have pots of money to go to university. So I thought I'm going to work for a year, and I started in the recruitment game. And I must add that I've never been great at engineering. I've tried engineering, and probably my first experience of health and safety was working in one of these old workshops where they had the steel saws. And the way we were taught not to go too close to the steel saw was with a whack on the head. There was no protection. There was uneven flooring. It was terrible, but I learned very quickly that I wasn't particularly good at that. So I joined MPI as a trainee, worked in the defence, so we support the RAF, Marshalls Aerospace, we work with them, the BBC, ITN, lots of different companies, and it was really exciting, and I did lots of travelling even at a young age. And then one day, we started doing work on the railway with this company called Westinghouse.
Yeah, so, something I never set out to do, never wanted to do, and certainly would never want somebody to have to do the way that I've had to come to it. Because I came to it as a result of my wee brother having been killed at work. So, yeah, Michael was 26 years old. He was engaged to be married. He left home on Thursday, the 4th of August 2005 to go to his work, and he didn't make it home again. He died on an all hands on deck job to get a JJB sports store and gym complex ready for a handover to a client by the next again day, or else his company's penalty clauses were going to kick in.
And then when you get to figuring out, hey, we do have a human factor related into this, and then you have to find out, all right, how culpable is this human that has this little piece. And incident investigations, you find out that there's going to be, many pieces, especially if you're going as deep as a fishbone or something similar to that. But when you do get to the human factor, then you're thinking, all right, well, I like the diminishing culpability model from James Reason. And you're thinking, all right, was this sabotage, or did I fail this worker? Did I truly fail this worker and didn't train them right? Didn't give them everything that they need? So if there's any punitive issues, then the person who's got the sabotage, they're going to, you're out of here. But then everyone else that maybe I failed them, let's find a way for me to get them either retrained, and might be me retraining myself first, and being an effective communicator to them, and then let's see how well we do after I deal with me.